The following is brought to you by Honey Sound Broadcasting and Bex Memphis Entertainment, affiliates of the Bilko Media Network.
All right, I am Bronchitis the Brown. I am going to be sounding like I ate a pack of cigarettes, and I won't be talking too much, which is great because I haven't actually watched any of these movies.
I know, you little shits didn't actually watch them.
Hey, I watched one half of one movie.
It.
That's true. With us.
Yeah, Bill doesn't have an excuse. All right, Bill's the only one here who
we watched all of them, extended versions.
Oh my God.
For you people.
All right, well, let's get started. All right, Bill, you want to maybe start us off, or Alex or Beth, do you want to maybe start us off because you actually watched the movie?
What do we want to do? Like overall?
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want. You guys run the show.
You guys lead it.
I would say from what I remember of the book, from a book to movie perspective, it was one of the better adaptations compared to like The Hobbit. And like Harry Potter. I like some of the slight changes that they made to adapt it to a movie. And overall, it's still an awesome trilogy. I still love it, even over a decade later. It blew my mind when I was thinking about, I ran around in middle school, like, quoting this movie with my girlfriend. Like, we printed out huge stacks of the script and, like, took turns reading it to each other.
That's dedication.
That is.
Yeah.
I think I told you my history with Lord of the Rings, which is interesting. Around 7th-ish grade for me, everyone was into Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, some of my friends were starting to read this Lord of the Rings nonsense. And it was about wizards and all this stuff. And I thought it was some schmuck trying to coattail his way on the Harry Potter phenomenon. So I thought these were written after Harry Potter by somebody trying to, jump on the bandwagon of the Harry Potter thing. But no, it blew my mind when I realized, watching Return of the King, that somebody mentioned, these are from, the 30s or something. I'm like, what? I thought these came out, 2 years ago.
I, of course, was on full of Tolkien's DNA. I have a library. My parents have a library. Unusual in itself. All right.
Like 7 foot by...
Not many people have grow up in houses. And this is how you know that I'm just a little bubble child. Is because I grew up in a house that was so intellectually rarefied that we actually had a room that was dedicated to keeping books in. And one entire half of the room. So imagine 5 full bookcases. Dedicated to Tolkien stuff. I mean, there was a bookcase that was dedicated to different language versions of Lord of the Rings. I even had an illegal copy of it from Soviet era Romania. You're not allowed. You could not have a copy of Lord of the Rings in the USSR because it's all the West is great and the East sucks, so they kind of read
stuff
it
in
that.
Vacuum sealed humidity.
No, it was just all books, just all out in the none of it was.
No, I'm saying he needs to, because some of that stuff is probably worth a lot of money.
Oh yeah, and money. My dad has the largest, I should say, speaking of money, I don't know how much this stuff is worth, but he has the distinction of having the largest amount of Tolkien fanzines. This was internet forums in the 60s, when you print out stuff and on mimeograph type, and then you would share them with your friends. His largest collection of fanzines west of the Mississippi or something, donating them all to Marquette University. Anyway, all right, so long story short, and, by the way, I had just a couple of bookshelves in the basement that were just copies of Lord of the Rings, extras, like extras. Like I had like shelves that were just the book of paperback copies of Return of the King. Like if ever my friends came over,
All of the same publication?
all the same publication, all the same. So like I would just ask my friends if I come over if they wanted a copy of Lord of the Rings. I would just give it to them. If they want. Like my friend Charity came over one day and she was looking around and was like, I've always wanted to read Silmarillion. I was like, here, I have a copy. And
Oh, the Christians give away Bibles.
It sounds like my house and oven.
And Tristan gives away copies of Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, exactly. So you can imagine that, like I rebelled and I didn't like it. I hated it, while growing up because of all, you hate whatever your parents are into. And but now I just have this weird background knowledge. Like it's as I want to say it's as strong as my like knowledge of Lutheranism, right? I would say is my Lord of the Rings because, and I can't stress this enough. I grew up both Lutheran and Lord of the Rings. Both I think were very, very much like co-equal almost in terms of their seriousness. Anyway.
Are you still going to inherit part of Middle Earth?
Yes. So I don't want to brag too much, but I am I think I'm the Thane now. I became the Thane when I was 18, but yeah. I used to be the Baron Tookbro. So like, yeah, my godfather is the Duke of Numenor. And they have this whole thing where they've parceled out little lands and stuff amongst themselves, and they have like a fake little currency. And I grew up and I was like growing up and having your dad and like various extended relatives and dad's friends like involved in this. I was always kind of like, do they actually I was very literal as a kid. All right, surprise. But I was like, do you actually believe that we live in the year 7,349? Because that's what they did. They back calculated, what this is the fourth age, year 7,000. Like I said, I only have like really intense pockets of knowledge within the Tolkien legendarium, But yeah, just growing up around all this stuff was just very, I went to conferences when I was a kid, where people talked very seriously about whether Middle Earth was round or whether it was flat.
Or actually this hardcore, such a nerd, Tristan.
But I thought Earth went through different phases where one time it wasn't round, it was flat, then it was round, then it became round.
So yeah, the answer is it was flat and then was round, became round at the end of the Second Age.
Okay, wow.
Where do the dinosaurs fit in all this?
Alex knows all this stuff and he's never read the book.
Oh, he's never read the books. So Alex, what's your experience with this?
I read Fellowship of the Ring, I read Two Towers, and I read Battle of the Pelennor Fields and got very bored in Houses of the Healing and stopped.
Okay.
I guess you made it most of the way through.
Because at that point, the Return of the King had come out and just went and saw it and went, I don't need to read the rest of that book.
I mean, but it ends, it's like, yay, victory! And it's like, oh, no. No. We still have 100 pages to go. Oh.
Yeah.
Bill, so have you seen all of the movies at some point?
Yeah. So back before I knew Tristan, there was this other guy who was very similar to Tristan, and he was really into Lord of the Rings. And we would watch it at his house. So I've seen them all a few times.
Have you seen the South Park Lord of the Rings episode?
Played the game, and Tristan and I did another plug for one of our other reviews, Stick of Truth, which I believe is based on that episode.
You can click on the top right to get to a link to that that right now. Yeah, right now.
Too bad you can only do it at the end of the video.
Oh no!
I think I made the.
But the plug is there. Just look for Stick of Truth in the video.
So,
oh man.
So what are your like, so what are your thoughts just watching it 10 years later? I'm wondering,
I
you know,
I
what do you
was
think?
quite surprised. Other than that one scene that was bad already with Legolas and the whole discombobulation of it and dislocation of his shoulder.
Oh, in the Two Towers when he grabs hold of the horse and he's on the back of the horse.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck did that ever work?
He
If you
might
were
be
going
an
the
elf,
other way, that
but-
would work, but you went left, then swung right, all while holding on with your right arm.
Oh,
and then
yeah, I remember. I know
Oh,
what you're talking
okay. Yeah, okay. That was one of my eye rolling bits in Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah.
Was the ever
But other than that,
like Legolas stunts. You know, by the third movie, he's like climbing up the elephant's trunk and like friggin' putting a stake in its brain or something, just
But I thought that was.
single-handedly. Like,
I thought that
yeah.
was sort of in the book. Because, I mean, they mentioned, and Legolas is flying from up from Mumakil to Mumakil and doing all this crazy. I mean, that was sort of in the book.
I mean, he's a good archer and he's got a great eye, better than physics would allow. Actually, sat through a lecture on that. But he's just a good arrow shot. I mean, he's not Batman, man. He's not like you know, he just ran up that elephant's trunk like it was nothing. It was flipping around, like presaging a lot of the trouble I feel with the Hobbit. Because I never feel like if Legolas can like skate down on a shield and wail on a bunch of orcs, or like climb up the elephant's back and like take out a Mumakil single-handedly, I don't feel any danger. You know, I don't think he's in danger. He's fucking Legolas. He's a beast.
so
Anyway,
other than that scene,
yeah.
I was quite surprised that the CGI didn't look
Oh,
horrible.
yeah. It held up
It
for
was
sure.
still, yeah. Like, it was still really good.
'Cause when did the first one come out? Like 2001-ish? Yeah, like 2001.
Yes.
2001, 2002,
2001.
2003. Like, think of the other movies from that, like, time and compare the CGI from that to...
Star Wars.
Yeah,
Right?
Star Wars. I mean, Episode 1 was 99, so it was all
Yep.
about the same era, and look how god-awful they look today. How
Yep.
did Lord
Well,
of
and
the
then
Rings get it so right?
didn't they add in, like, CGI,
Well,
and it just
well,
looks
For the
horrible.
record, I think the CGI in Star Wars is gorgeous. The movies are just shit.
Some of the, like,
Now, I thought Episode 1 was good, but 2 and 3?
cities are pretty.
Are you kidding me? Episode 1 is near unwatchable.
No, I
Go
liked
back and
Episode
watch
1.
that
I don't
again.
care what you say. I liked Episode 1, but 2
Okay.
and 3,
but
especially
back,
3.
Lord of the Rings.
Did you guys already do Star Wars?
Yeah,
This is Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings are all watchable.
Get back on topic.
You can see the link for the Star Wars rant up in the left-hand corner.
That's right, exactly. And you know, for Alex's side leaf blowing business, down on the bottom right-hand corner. Anyway.
But I love how they took scenes from Lord of the Rings and redid them in The Hobbit, like the crossover scenes, like the ones when like Bilbo finds the ring and like the opening scenes of. So it was fun to see those again in Lord of the Rings, remembering them from The Hobbit, remembering them from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. It's amazing how much CGI holds up from a movie much better than a movie that was made substantially later than this particular movie. Funny how that works out, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with The Hobbit.
Yeah. And let's not forget to mention, whoever decided to film in New Zealand, like, wins Best Person of the Year.
Yes.
Good God, that's the most gorgeous country ever.
Probably 25% of tourism revenue is directly directly attributed to this movie, probably.
I mean, they got, like, free tourism. It's like Lord of the Rings, the tourism video for New Zealand. Just all the aerial shots are just breathtaking.
Well, and the interesting part, whenever you see where Helm's Deep is, they use the same location to film where Helm's Deep is and where Minas Tirith is. It's the same place.
Ah.
It doesn't look it though, because they do different angles.
Well, because when they show Helm's Deep, it's set back inside the little inlet thing, and when they do Minas Tirith, it's like this big ringed city coming out of the wall, kind mountains much more so than.
So speaking of little tidbits like that, before we get into like serious detail, can we talk about like the mistakes in it? Because I think it's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
Tristan, or not Tristan, Alex pointed out something I never noticed before. In the Battle of Helm's Deep, all of the elves apparently die except for Legolas. Because you never see any of the elves again, like, the next day. All of the shots.
Okay, this is like, if you read the book, though, the elves never showed up.
Well,
So,
okay,
yes.
that doesn't matter. That doesn't mean you can kill them all off. If you're going to bring in the elves,
I know,
you can't kill them all
you
off.
brought in all these people, the battle happens, they all die,
Yes.
and apparently are never to be seen again.
Either that or
And
they
I know the backstory to this. So what happened was, Liv Tyler wanted more scenes in it as Arwen. So what they were going to do was they were going to have a contingent of elves led by Arwen show up at Helm's Deep. And then there'd be like Aragorn, Arwen romance scenes. And when this got leaked, this is at least my grain of salt opinion of what happened. But when that got leaked, the screeching from the Tolkien fan base could have been heard to high heaven. And I know I was definitely at the center of the screeching. And it was like, oh my God, Arwen cannot be at Helm's Deep. That is completely not in the books. Da 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 da. And so eventually what they did was they shot all these scenes, and they were shooting scenes of Arwen, and then this fan base gut reaction comes back at Peter Jackson, and thank God they had somebody on the staff, and they had all sorts of people who were involved in Tolkien for like a long time. Like I actually met a guy who did in an elevator in Birmingham. I met him. He was the guy who did most of the artwork, the entire 3 movies.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but yeah, but and I also met with all the people who did the Elvish translation, right? Because I just knew them, and they got picked up because it was like, hey, who knows how to speak Elvish? Oh, these fucking weird computer programmers that come to this con every year. Okay, all right, they're gonna be our translators. Anyway, so yeah, like the screeching about Arwen being at Helm's Deep was just so huge that they had to back it off. So that's why this rando elf shows up and is like super serious, and it seems really out of place, and he ends up dying, and the elves just fucking disappear. So that's the backstory behind that whole scene and why that's so weird. So just little inside Lord of the Rings baseball for you.
Yeah, Arwen definitely got more screen time than she does in the book.
Yeah, considering she shows up in like 3 pages at the end of the Return of the King.
And her Elvish is really awkward. Like,
I mean, Arwen's in the appendix more than she's in the actual book. So yeah.
What's that phrase she says to the Nazguls when she's conjuring the tidal wave?
Oh, I don't remember. That was Glorfindel that.
Something like that. It's just.
Oh yeah, that's another thing is that she shows up to rescue Frodo when that was supposed to be Glorfindel's job. So Arwen is the queen of stolen valor. Okay, in this movie, she just shows up and she doesn't deserve it, and she's not.
But I can get that, because from a movie perspective, like, do you really want to introduce another character that's there for one scene?
I completely agree. And, well, it's even more ridiculous in the Tolkien Legendarium, because, like, the guy who comes, so the Glorfindel, the guy who's supposed to be there instead of Arwen to rescue Frodo, he fights a Balrog and dies and is resurrected just so, like, 500 years later he can run across the river and save Frodo from
I was going to bring that up.
Every life has a purpose.
Yeah.
So there's that. My favorite is still when the Uruk-hai sits up in the first movie after he's supposed to be dead.
Oh.
So after Boromir dies, saving Merry and Pippin, and they pan over like the field of dead Uruk-hai, one of them totally sits up.
Oh, nice. In one of the scenes early on, when I think it's like Frodo and Sam, and they're just walking out of the Shire, and when they're just crossing a field, you can see like a blue Dodge Caravan in like the background driving.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I'm sure there's pages upon pages.
Oh yeah, tons of tons.
Kind of thing. Okay, so shall we talk about the cast?
Yeah.
So Orlando Bloom, I learned this like last week. Apparently, I think he's dating Katy Perry now, and I don't know, but apparently there are pictures of Orlando Bloom nude on a paddleboard with Katy Perry, and apparently Orlando Bloom's exact comments on the photo, like on Twitter, were, "Well, if I ever have a son, I feel kind of bad for him because he's got a lot to live up to."
Oh.
I mean, Orlando Bloom is gorgeous.
Orlando.
A good choice for a beautiful elf, but I feel like I feel like Legolas's entire role as a whole trilogy was, let's zoom in to my gorgeous face and say something epic.
Hey, I gotta say, Orlando Bloom, shower not a grower. I mean, definitely, after some close inspection. Oh, Katy Perry. Katy Perry's naked here too. Holy crap! How did I not know about this? I have an automated bot that regularly updates me on naked celebrities.
Look this photo up.
No, I'm not looking it up. This is a work phone.
Oh.
All right, Viggo Mortensen.
Viggo, hey, all right, looking up him. Nude pictures of Viggo.
I thought he was also well cast. He does really good at the has the strength and what's the word, valor and kingly. Like he can play the king side very well, and he can play the rough and tough, ranger, and he's gorgeous too.
And he's also, real life, a super duper hippie. Loves horses, bought the horse that he was in Hidalgo with. And,
so did he do his stunts then? Like, did he ride all of his own?
He did all of his stunts. He nearly fucking died filming Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, like twice. Like
yeah.
The Uruk-hai missed through and actually threw like a dagger at him.
Yep.
So when he swings his sword and whacks the dagger out, that was real. That was him legitimately trying to save his life from a flying dagger to his face.
When he falls off the warg or whatever and goes into the river, they almost, he was underwater for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And that was bad. So obviously, you don't want to kill Aragorn, your lead. I don't know what the fuck he was doing in that position where he could be, I guess Viggo's just a crazy person who wants to do all his own stunts, but
and then he broke his toe too or something when he
when he
fixed the helmet.
Yeah.
After Merry and Pippin, they thought Merry and Pippin were dead. Picks the helmet and is like, ah!
Yep.
And it looks legit, like he's just, sad because they're dead, but it was really, oh my gosh, my toe hurts.
One way to get realism out of acting.
So I thought he did really well.
So Tristan, when in the end part of Return of the King,
Hold on. We're still talking about actors.
Fine.
Yeah. Stop.
Okay. Next, another movie where Sean Bean dies.
Trevelyan,
Although
006.
I did see a movie where Sean Bean didn't die.
What?
It's called The Martian.
Okay. Get the fuck
No,
out.
it was when he was 20. It's way back when this really, really bad period romance.
That you are the queen of finding very, very bad period romances.
No, I find bad ones because I've watched all of them.
Nice.
I have scoured YouTube for free period romances, and I have hit the bottom of the barrel.
Wow. Racking up the view count in the triple digits, huh? All right. We're talking about Boromir here, right?
Yes.
I gotta say, I have some thoughts about how Boromir is just Boromir is the lunch pail working man's Lord of the Rings hero, and let me tell you why. All right, so Boromir is
the plumber.
Gondor, and Gondor is basically getting its shit pushed in every damn day. From Mordor, they've lost cities, they've lost strategic forts. It's been like decades of constant fighting, retreat, and disappointment after disappointment. Okay, you in the middle of the night receive a dream saying, "Go to this place called Rivendell and meet up with some dudes, and you'll find an answer to your problems, which are pretty pressing and pretty real. Like you just watched all your buddies get slaughtered by orcs when you lost Osgiliath last week or whatever, So you've got some PTSD. You're not really sleeping so much. On the way to Rivendell, he loses his horse, so his horse dies. He has to walk, and he finally gets there, and he discovers that the side that he's they're all going to be on the same side now against Mordor, and he's like, awesome, got all these allies, and there's this crazy thing called the Ring, which I'm pretty sure if like Gandalf or Elrond put that thing on, they'd just be able to walk into Mordor single-handedly and mess things up. And Boromir, who is just like a guy who wants to see the war end, okay,
his dad's
like,
the crazy one.
Yeah, his dad's the crazy one, all right, but like Boromir just wants to, he wants all these things like glory, and he has like an idea of like, what it is to be a chivalrous whatever man or whatever, but ultimately, like, he probably just wants to have a nice, safe, peaceful, happy Gondor, right, that he's king over, and he doesn't want the orcs and Mordor and Sauron kill his buddies anymore. So like when like the Ring is presented as this thing that it's this incredible weapon that they're just not going to use. If to him it's got to sound like, not only are you cavemen that have just discovered a tomahawk missile, you're going to take the tomahawk missile and stroll it right past the enemy base, and just the weakest, stupidest, fattest little curly-haired dwarves, not dwarves, but hobbits, right, that you can find. Wait, so your plan here is to get these shrimps to toss it into a volcano? Doesn't sound like a good plan. Why don't we use this thing and back it up with say archers and cavalry and infantry? Can we do that? And they're just like, no, and they just shoot him down. So eventually, after almost dying on a fucking snow mountain and probably not having enough food and losing enough sleep, he tries to steal the ring from him, and then he gets shot. I feel like there's a redemption story in Boromir that we never get, really. And it kind of comes from Faramir. Faramir really is, almost like a mirror image of what Boromir could have been. Although not in the movie, because in the movie he's just as super obsessed with the ring himself. Anyway, I'm just saying, Boromir, I gotta say, gets a lot of crap, but I understand where the guy's coming from.
But Sean Bean was good. And now Sean Bean him in his roles have been the start of 2 epic internet memes.
Yes.
Why do you look at me like this?
I don't know what meme you're talking about.
Meme. The one where Boromir is going like this and it says, one does not simply walk into Mordor.
Oh, yes.
And then winter is coming for good purpose.
Yeah.
All right, Billy Boyd and the other guy.
Billy Boyd?
He played Pippin. Those 2 are probably my favorites.
Oh, yeah.
And, that Billy Boyd actually does his singing. Fantastic.
Yep.
I'm convinced when they're smoking that pipe weed, I'm thinking they're just smoking weed, straight up marijuana. We're sitting here cracking up as these people are doing, as walking around, and I'm just high as a kite.
But I love how natural their involvement in the story is, and even though they're the comic relief, it feels like they need to be there even if they weren't the comic relief. They just happen to be hilarious. And
they have great, at least I think Pippin really, I think, has the best character arc, because he goes from just a complete idiot who thinks it's a fun idea, drop stones down a well in like an awful pork-infested Moria hell pit, just for laughs. And then at the end, he's like a soldier.
Yeah, he really does have a nice story arc. I guess
Mary, in the end, in the books, becomes the mayor of the Shire, I think.
Yeah. I mean, Mary does, but he's kind of like, it's like stability.
Mary also is the big reason why the Witch King died. He stabbed him in the leg with that special elf knife that allowed Eowyn to kill him.
But I don't know, I don't think okay, I take this back. Other than Elijah Wood, I love all the actors that they chose.
Other than Elijah Wood, huh? Well, then I guess we're talking about Elijah Wood now, huh? What's so wrong with Mr. Wood?
I hate how Elijah Wood acts in this movie. And, I mean, honestly, a lot of it probably isn't his fault. It just bugs me to no end how many times we have to have a zoomed-in view of Elijah Wood's square face going,
of Elijah Wood's face? His cum face? Is that what you're disturbed by? Like constant pan-ups?
His face are like same width. It's so square. I can't stand it.
Oh no, I know.
You have to see it all the time because they have to zoom in, and he's like the main character.
Yeah, and just like go on.
And how he says Gandalf. Gandalf. I can't stand it.
He was in Back to the Future.
He was in Sin City.
Yeah. It's like really crazy things that he's been in. Andy Serkis?
Oh yeah, Andy. So I think this movie started Andy Serkis is like
seriously should have won, Best Actor for all movies.
Who's this guy?
He's the guy that played Gollum.
Oh, Gollum.
So how does Gollum? I was going to ask this when we were talking earlier about 3D stuff. How does Gollum handle? Because that was when I went into watching Lord of the Rings for the first time. I was really just wondering how they were going to handle both people going invisible through the ring and how they were going to handle Gollum. And I think that it worked. It worked for the time, but he's the most CGI thing in there. Was obvious CGI thing in there. How does he hold up now?
Obviously you can tell, but it's pretty decent. There's only
it still looks good.
Moments. It has moments when when he's still and you can see the contrast between him and the background. But honestly, it's really pretty good.
Because he's inhuman enough to really not be really in the uncanny valley,
He played Supreme Leader Snoke.
Oh, you didn't know that? Anytime you see a CGI character, just assume Andy. Just assume Andy Serkis played him. I think it was Lord of the Rings that started that too, because he would act out the scene with Frodo and Bilbo, and then they'd edit him out and put in Gollum.
Yeah. Well, because they got all of his movements and everything.
Right, they would do the motion capture and everything too.
So he was fantastic.
I think he also played
Of course, Ian McKellen.
Sir Ian McClellan. He is a knight. Give him the due credit.
Oh, and our favorite Goonie.
Goonie?
Oh, never seen Goonies?
No, I haven't.
Damn.
I know.
Oh, was he the fat kid that was going to get his hand blended by the people?
Wait, that was Sam?
He was in the Goonies.
As the fat kid?
He was the fat kid. He was in the Goonies. John Astin. He played Mikey. So I think we've covered most of the actors.
Most of the whatever. And then, but Ian McKellen and Carmen Christopher Lee died, didn't he? He's dead now, isn't he? Yeah.
So Tristan, what about the? Because I think if you read the books, if I'm not mistaken, Sauron actually had a physical form in this movie at this time in the story. So he actually had a body and stuff that he was just. He wasn't just some all-seeing eye at the top of the tower. He actually had a body.
Well, no, he lost his body at the end of the Second Age, and he was incorporeal. I think basically throughout the entire Third Age. Yeah.
But he was the necromancer at Dol Guldur.
Right, but he wasn't, like, I don't think that he was a... I mean, there might have been some ability of his to, like, you know, maybe create some body or whatever, but he was not, like... So Sauron, like, as a physical entity, like a whatever, you know, died at Numenor at the end of the Second Age. He drowned, and then his spirit escaped, right? So, but his body died. I don't know what he did, right? But he managed to. He's basically Voldemorted his way out of it. Voldemort escape clause and wound up on the mainland in the Sauron.
Wait, no, I thought it was because he had he made the ring already. He made the rings already, and then surrendered to the people of Numenor. Yep. His body drowned there, but he still had a physical form that he had when the ring got cut off his hand.
Yeah, okay, all right. So yeah, because he comes out, and that's Isildur, and that's in the Third Age, definitely. Or is it?
That was the end of the Second Age when Isildur cut off the ring.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, then does he loses the ring, and that's when he becomes incorporeal, or because he's chilling out. He's chilling out in Numenor in the Second Age too. Like he's giving Emperor of Numenor like really bad advice and like bad mojo and sacrificing dudes like temples and telling them to invade heaven and stuff, and it's not fun. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess he had. Wait, no, that was it. When he drowned, come back as a physical form, but he just couldn't be cute anymore. Like he was like a beautiful dude back in the day of Numenor when he was like walking around and talking to people. But he lost the ability to make a pleasant seeming physical form.
Isn't that why he needed the ring back?
And so the ring, the ring
again.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe that sounds about right.
All right. Oh, here's something that I was quite surprised at. The score of the movie is written by neither Hans Zimmer nor John Williams.
Oh, okay.
Shocking, I know.
Right.
Because I told Alex, I was like, you want to bet who did this? You know, Hans Zimmer or John Williams? And I look it up and I'm like, what? Neither of them did this? Like, the score is beautiful. I love, like, the string parts, like the It's like, it's so ethereal and, like, fantasy.
Yeah.
It still kind of has that, like, creepy, you know, mystery, like, I love it.
It's good. I had the soundtrack for all of them when I was growing up. I used to listen to them all the time. They're really good. They're really good tracks.
Yes, and the Hobbit theme is perfect. Like, the music just captures the essence of a Hobbit so perfectly.
And like, you know, when you're hearing like Saruman's theme, like the not Osgiliath, is it Osgiliath? Saruman's Tower, I can't remember. Anyway, you know, like that's like very like metal hammers and like very rhythmic. Very, very, very rhythmic, very mechanical, very loud. Lots of trumpets, and that's so one of the things that I love about like Lord of the Rings universe is how well like that kind of, you know, even I like to imagine, because on some level it is true that like all the nerds across the world who were into Tolkien got in on this project, okay, and that's what probably makes I think these movies so special. I'd say maybe less than that, you know, maybe less of that is on the music side. But I would like to think that at least there were some Tolkien nerds on the music side who were paying attention to the Silmarillion. Because the very beginning of the Silmarillion is like the creation story of Middle-earth. And it's essentially you know, it's like good guys are singing the very like stringy whatever, like harmonized. And you know, and then you know, Melkor, who is like Sauron's dad, you know, is like just like very trumpety and simple notes and just, but everything's loud and repetitive and just dominates, you know. So like that's what I hope, like that maybe that kind of went into the making of the movies. Some of that, kind of like Silmarillion inspired stuff. Anyway.
Especially when the recorder plays it.
Yeah. It's good. It's really good.
Like it's hopeful, but yet it has that sad layer to it because of all the like death and sacrifice that went into creating the world that they now have.
And it all really comes together, and it's all really earned. Like all that music, like really serves as the music really makes like a scene work, and it really brings out like the color in it. So they did such a good job.
They did.
Any other observations?
Well, I mean, obviously the Dead Army doesn't save the day at the Battle of the Pelennor Fields.
In the end?
Yeah, because the Dead Army only took care of the Corsairs, and then Aragorn and a bunch of his kin and like the Rangers from the north were the ones that rode up on the ships, popped out, and then him and his buddies were just riding into the whole battle at that point. He didn't ever use the Dead Army to win that battle.
Really?
The Dead Army just fought the ships, killed the people on the ships, and then he released them and then moved on.
Yeah, like I always thought that it was a little weird that like Aragorn couldn't have like persuaded them just to do one more like I released you from your oath. Oh wait, can you help us fight this Battle of Sauron that's coming up in like 5 minutes? Like can you just stick around for that one? They got elephants. You guys could take them out easy. We wouldn't have so many dead Rohirrim. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Speaking of the Dead Army, and I've brought this up so many times because it irks me. The one change I like from the book to the movie, especially, is the scene when Aragorn meets the Dead Army and fulfills his like destiny as becoming king, and is like, no, I like legit am the king, so you guys have to fight for me.
Yep.
It's really powerful in the movie. How he's like, fool, what the hell are you doing here? I'm gonna kill you. And he's and then clash swords, and it's really awesome.
Like, hey, no, you misunderstood. I'm the boss. I'm Cake Boss.
Yeah. And then the book is it seems very anticlimactic. They spend like 10, I looked it up because I was curious. There's like 10 pages of them piddling around the camp, talking about how scary, the road in the woods is that leads to the dead people.
Uh-huh.
And then it's like 1 page of them talking. Like, maybe a page of them talking to the Dead Army.
Oh, well, the entire Battle of Pelennor Fields is like a page and a half, and then like Aragorn spends like 15 pages in the Houses of Healing, like rubbing Athelas on sick people. Like, like I'm just like, what priorities? Hey, let's get the blood and the guts and the Mooba kill.
Yeah, books just aren't quite written in the same format as we tend to enjoy them.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how this whole thing could have been over by lunchtime had they just used the Eagles from the beginning?
Yeah, I was wondering how long it was going to take for some
How
asshole.
many Reddit forums and YouTube videos and Wikipedia pages have been dedicated to the topic?
So Tristan, what does your like family friends say about these? Like about well, you could have just taken the Eagles. What the hell you didn't take the Eagles for?
Okay, so like if there's a reason why they couldn't have taken them, I have a reason why they couldn't have taken them to like just like airdrop, like they're just doing a bombing strike with the ring on the volcano, that theory right there. I have some kind of counter evidence maybe against, but I don't have anything for why couldn't you just plop them 90% of the way there. Like you could have saved them a lot of time. You could have made sure that while the Nazguls were still dicking around in the Shire on horseback, like half a world away from Sauron, you could just have the Eagles fly them in like a day and drop them off at on the other side of the mountains around Mordor and walk. But the reason why I think that they couldn't just drop in, is because they do have, so Sauron does have the Fell Beasts around them. And Sauron obviously does have an ability that diminishes with, I don't know, he has maybe some magic inverse square law thing going on, where he can affect things that are closer to him, and Barad-dûr more directly. So, I get the feeling if you just drove a big, honking, 27-foot wingspan eagle and, buzzed the Barad-dûr Tower, negative Ghost Rider and Pattern's Bull, you try to do that crap, he's gonna see it. He's gonna figure it out. Because these eagles are, messengers of the gods and very, in Tolkien, there's this weird, almost Dragon Ball Z kind of thing where, it's all about power levels, and, the Hobbits.
He has entered the conversation of Lord of the Rings. That's probably a new one. Who has compared Dragon Ball Z to Lord of the Rings yet?
His power level's over 9,000.
Right, yeah. Caveat, I, watched probably 15 minutes of Dragon Ball Z in my entire life, but it seems just to be, two people, acting really constipated somewhere in Utah, with shiny hair, talking about how much they're going to beat somebody up, but they can't because their power levels are low. Anyway, so one of the reasons why they think that Frodo and Sam are such great people to throw into the mix of things is because nobody's going to notice a Hobbit. People can, Sauerman could, sense probably, Gandalf, because, or, kind of get an idea of where they are, just because they're just so into, they're powerful creatures, powerful entities. Sauron would probably notice Gandalf walking into Mordor. Sauron would probably notice Elrond walking, or Galadriel walking into Mordor. And it's never really explained how, this stuff works, or how people know this stuff, but, yeah, but the Eagles are, they're in canon, they are, servants of Manwë, one of the head god of the Valar, so.
The same god that, Gandalf served?
Yes, exactly. So, the Eagles are probably, if not co-equal of Gandalf in terms of, their power, probably, somewhat like that, yeah. A little less than that.
And whether or not he meant it, although I would imagine Tolkien probably meant it because he Christian and hung out with C.S. Lewis. But, because you think of, the Jews in Jesus' time, they expected the fulfillment of the prophecies to be a powerful king that would, lead them to battle and defeat the Romans. And then it turns out to be this, nobody who ends up saying you kind of have the same parallels with the hobbits being the least of the races, being the ones that save it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's definitely a Messiah-like figure in Aragorn, right? You can kind of see that, as a...
He's got the Messiah hair, that's for sure.
He does have the Messiah hair.
The Swedish Jesus, yeah.
He is a Swedish Jesus. He is a very Nordic Jesus, isn't he? So, Tolkien never really put, certainly not to the level of, C.S. Lewis. Tolkien never put, direct allegory or anything like that into his,
No one character was, Jesus' character. Frodo has a little bit of it because he's the one that carries the burden and does it. But then Aragorn kind of has some of it, and even Sam.
But Frodo can't be a Jesus analog, because if Frodo was a Jesus analog, that means that Frodo would have thrown himself into the fire or something. But Frodo fails. So Jesus didn't not go through or run away from the crucifixion, or something like that. But Frodo, at the end says, the ring is mine. I possess it. It is mine. I wield it. End of story. He fails at the very end.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, there's not one character that, Azeroth, the lion's name? That's supposed to be Jesus?
Aslan.
Aslan, yeah.
Yes.
Who literally dies and comes back to life.
Yes, he does.
In the second book, or the first book, whatever chronology you're following in that series.
I don't know, I've only read like 3 of them. But how cool would it have been, oh my gosh, to know Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, and who's the third guy?
All the other Inklings. Yeah.
Who he was? I don't know.
They would all hang out and talk.
Yep. And the pub, the Eagle and the Child pub. Yep, in England. Yeah, been there. Good. I got some soup. That's the only thing I really remember. Yeah, I mean it's a good movie. I just didn't feel like I didn't really have the time to spend 14 hours watching through it. So
That's why it took us like 2 months to finish.
yeah.
For the record, it's only 12 and a half hours, not 14 and a half.
Oh, even with the extended, it's okay. With that, that's the full extension, right? Like
Yeah, because what the Fellowship of the Ring is about 4 hours.
okay.
Two Towers is 4 hours, and the Return of the King is like 5.
Yeah.
Because Return of the King ends, then you have a whole hour of extra stuff afterwards, and
then it ends.
The movie had like 4 endings. Like, pick one, please.
I know.
That's probably the one thing I didn't like about the book is, can we just be done now?
One thing that I think that was maybe a good. So I think there were 2 good removals from the books. And the first removal that I think was a good removal was Tom Bombadil. And the second removal that I think was a good removal was like the Scouring of the Shire. I think both of those really would have taken away, from the flow and really added nothing.
Yeah, Tom Bombadil is like this random like interlude when they just start.
Didn't they spend like 3 years fucking around in the woods with Tom Bombadil too?
Well, it's like, so it's clear from like, when you read The Lord of the Rings, like it's, until you hit the Council of Elrond, like it's clear, like there's almost like there's 2 different books. Well, actually, it's before they hit Bree. It's before they hit Bree, because they go from Bree to the mountaintop to Rivendell. But before they hit Bree, it's almost like The Hobbit 2.0. I don't really know what I'm doing. Here's hobbits going on adventures. Like there's weird stuff in there too, like in Lord, check it out because I would love to be proven wrong about this, but there's this weird moment where the narrative switches to omniscient third person, and like it starts talking about like how a fox, sees the hobbits walking down the hill and is like, Fox thought that was a very odd sight, and he had never seen that, and it's like that never happens again. So like you can see like Tolkien's trying to find what the story is before he gets to Bree, and Tom Bombadil is right in the fuck up. I don't know what the story is. We got this weirdo with his hippie wife, and we got Barrow Whites, and fuck it, let's go do some adventuring.
Yeah, because but didn't they like talk about giving the ring to Tom Bombadil at the Council of Elrond?
They did.
We could give it to him, but then he just forget about it and lose it.
Yeah,
that way, wasn't that?
Yes, that's what I love so much about the Council of Elrond. The Council of Elrond is what like every movie needs. Like they needed a Council of Elrond in Interstellar when they were trying to figure shit out, where they needed to list out one by one what are our options here, rather than just like fucking go down on a crazy planet. Anyway, Interstellar video, that's down in the left-hand side center link. So yeah, like Tom Bombadil is a fascinating character, but ultimately he's just really outside of the world of the Lord of the Rings. Like it's said, I think at the Council of Elrond, that basically if Sauron wins, there's just going to be this weird little patch of Earth that Tom Bombadil controls, and it's going to be this magical, hippie wonderland surrounded by like hobbit slaves and burnout husks of forests and Sauron's armies. Like that's what's going to happen. That's what the world looks like if So he really is just not affected by anything in the story. So he doesn't really belong in the story, frankly.
Is he gonna get his own trilogy at some point?
Oh, fucking probably. Right?
He had a
Doesn't like
cameo in The
character
Hobbit. They showed him in The Hobbit.
When did they show Tom Bombadil in The Hobbit?
He goes racing through the forest on his hair-driven sled.
That's Radagast.
Oh, that's Radagast.
Radagast the Brown.
Sorry.
That was.
The other hippie in the
Not Tom Bombadil.
Sorry.
The Scouring of the Shire, which is basically Frodo coming back from World War One and then realizing that everything is shit. Because that's Scouring of the Shire is Tolkien coming back from World War One. Like if you want to see what because he comes back and everything is turned all super industrial and all the trees are being cut down, for Tolkien it was for war effort and shit, but there was industrial pollution everywhere and everybody was mean and a little hungry.
I don't know if I have any more time.
Yeah, what about you, Bill? You got anything? You've been an excellent listener.
I am an excellent listener.
Hey, ladies.
Bill's
I don't profile in the center right link.
Click away.
Click away.
He's single.
No, I never read the books, so I never really got into Lord of the Rings. It was just another movie to me. I enjoyed the ride while I watched them, but I did come up with the Eagle theory on my own, I'm proud to say, that everybody else stole from me, just like communism.
Oh yeah, okay.
But, I mean, they're good movies, don't get me wrong. I just never read the book, so I don't know all the backstory as much as you guys know.
Yeah, and like I said, it's like I know all of this stuff because I listened to Lord of the Rings audiobooks on tape, a billion years while playing with Legos as a kid. All right, that was my childhood. So I know all these names and places and stuff or whatever, but that's I'm not huge into it now. I don't have Middle Earth maps all over my walls, but it's all in my brain.
Actually, if you go back, it gets really weird because you go through the Silmarillion, you have at the end of the First Age, fine, this elf gets stuck over here, then he goes over here, and then he kills all these other elves so they wouldn't help him cross the sea, and then these people get pissed at this guy, and they end up killing these people, and it gets really weird.
Yeah, it's very hard to listen to this. It's very hard to read the Silmarillion because it's and Malgareth, who was in the Elvish Sindrin tongue called Malgthor, who was in the Quenya known as Malgathon the Great, who was in the blah 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 known as Steve. It's lots and lots of names, lots of places. Very hard to understand where anything is in relationship to each other.
How long did it take this guy to write the books? Do we know?
Did
he knock it out in a weekend, or was this a decades-long thing?
So he wrote what was going to be the Silmarillion, or ended up being pieced together as the Silmarillion during World War One. That's where he kind of came up with things like the fall of stories that the fall of Gondolin. Fall of Gondolin. That's a story, very important story in the Silmarillion. But that was never really compiled until after his death. He was going to maybe do something with it, but these stories form the backstory of Middle Earth. So by the time when he was ready to do it, he kind of he wrote The Hobbit, which wrote a kid's book in this made-up fantasy world that he'd already created. He did that around 33 or 32, I think.
And then the rest came out.
I don't know. I have to look it up.
Just curious.
I mean, I'd say it's be around, I think, probably late 30s, maybe early 40s, if I have to take a guess. When Lord of the Rings came out. Let me just look it up.
Yeah, so I was trying to explain to Beth how though you have the Mirkwood elves, the Mirkwood elves are not the same elves as the elves of Rivendell and the elves of Lothlorien. They're a lower form of elf, and there's different types of elves. But the leaders, Thranduil and Legolas, are Noldor descended elves, and the other elves are not Noldor descended elves, and the Noldor descended elves are the high elves, and all the other elves are these lower elves.
Yes.
So you have like stupid elves that are being commanded by these smart elves.
So basically, you have like a really sly race kind of undertone here going on with.
So
Like,
okay, there's more of a reason why it's not just like their skull shape is different, so they're the Sindarin elves. No, it's like so in the beginning, when the elves first awoke on Middle Earth, Morgoth, Sauron's dad, who was not really his dad, but whatever, Daddy Sauron, was sending things to kill them or whatever, and beasts and stuff, and eventually the people who got captured in this very early period got tortured and turned into orcs. That's where orcs come from. But the elves, depending on whether they stayed in Middle Earth or whether they the Valar, who were on this island across from Middle Earth, and it was a super sweet island and everybody loved it. They're holy crap, all these elves are getting slaughtered over here. Let's bring them all over and have them come over and chill out here. And some of them refused to come, and then some of them came over. And so they learned. So it's some of them stayed in Middle Earth and just hunted with bows and stuff like that. And some of them hung out with literal gods for a while and learned how to make crazy, ships and technology and stuff like that. So they, after a couple of millennia, they both speak different languages. They both have different cultures. They both have different whatever, right? So that's how these differences are about.
That was more than I needed to know.
That's probably going to be the name of this fucking episode.
More than I needed.
More than I ever needed to know about Tolkien.
Full credits.
But then Gondolin was its own separate elven empire that then got destroyed.
Yes.
Oh Lord. Oh dear.
And the dwarves.
I mean, this shit goes deep. It goes deep. Hey, one of my favorite little anecdotes is Tolkien gets messed up, I think, in describing how many rivers are in a province in Gondor, and so he gets out of it by saying, well, the scholars that wrote down, this in the Lord of the Ring. I mean, I'm only going off what these scholars, who the primary sources. He tries to explain it away it's well, of course, records aren't, very fallible, and the record keepers of Gondor, they probably didn't know how many rivers were here or whatever. Anyway, computer anecdote in my head, then maybe.
Or I keep explaining to Beth how when Isildur took the ring, though he was the king of Gondor, Gondor was not the major man empire at that point. That was the kingdom of Arnor. So he died with the ring on his way to take the seat of the throne of Arnor.
Yes.
When he had the ring, and then the Witch King of Angmar was the one that eventually caused the downthrow and the overturning of the kingdom of Arnor.
Yes.
So when you see
all of this is not relevant.
all of it is totally relevant because when you get to the Return of the King, and he's fighting all these people.
I think hobbits did fight in that battle. I think hobbit.
I just know there's a bunch of bad guys and shit happened in the past. And
you missed the whole reason that golf was invented because.
Oh yes, because of the hobbits.
Because of one of the ancestral tube people that was big enough to ride a horse took a club and hit this.
It's not golf. It's
No, it was golf. The game of golf was invented because the
polo is played on a horse.
So Beth.
Polo. But it was.
Yeah, he was big enough to ride a real horse.
Yeah, but he hit the king of the goblins' head so hard it came off, and the king's name was Golf something. and his head came off, rolled into a rabbit hole, and thus he invented the game of golf by hitting a goblin head into a hole.
Isn't that the picture that they show in the movie? Is that guy?
Yes.
That was over.
In the commentary, they mentioned, "Oh, I completely forgot to add that the goblin's name was Golf something."
We do need to go back. Next time we watch it, let's make it closer. I need to go back and watch the commentary, because I've definitely watched the commentary on the first one. I may have watched the commentary on the second and third, but we did for The Hobbit, I remember. But I definitely want to go back and watch all the commentary.
Because the first Hobbit movie was decent, and we could watch the commentary and go, "Oh, this is going to end up really well." The second one, we're just going, "What?" The third one, "What in the hell? Did you really make that story up? You had a whole army of people coming, and apparently Bjorn and the Eagles just massacred them. We're going to ignore this whole army coming from Gundabad because..."
No, because we need to focus on the non-existent dwarf elf love story.
Yes, because the dwarf elf love story, and we're going to have...
no! We're getting into it again! We're getting into it! Stop!
We're going to have 4 dwarves holding off a whole fucking army at this pass.
Oh, Lord, we need to wrap this up.
This has been a presentation of Honey Sound Broadcasting and Bex Memphis Entertainment, affiliates of the Bilko Media Network.